How's it going? If you're new here, my name is B. Smitty, and I'm a photographer on the quest of the art life. If you're not new to the channel, you'll instantly tell here the quality is a billion times better. I mean, this looks amazing. I made some investments, made things way better in production value. So today we're going to talk about an all-time classic. It's Richard Avedon's In the American West, and this is one of my favorite photo books of all time. Richard Avedon is an early on inspiration for me. It was around 2011 or so when I discovered Richard Avedon and watched his documentary Darkness and Light, which is a PBS documentary, and you can find that on YouTube. Highly recommend watching it. This is by far, to me, for just straight up portraits, I feel like this is the handbook for that. This is the best of the best of how it's done. And I wanted to talk about a few things with current portraits as I go through this as well. And we'll go over it. So I'm picking my top 5 favorite, which is ridiculous because I can pick a totally different top 5 every time. But I picked 5 for this video, and let's get into it. And just so you know, before we get into this, the photographs in this book were taken from 1989 through 1974, and this was published in 1985. And the first photo I'm picking is actually the cover as well, but I'm going with it because to me this is just a perfect image for, especially the cover. I feel like it makes you want to look into this book. There's something about it that's just like, I need to see more. What's going on in this book of portraits? So great portrait. Again, that documentary Darkness and Light, that's on YouTube. She's in this as an adult. She's only 12 years old in this photo. So in the documentary, she's older. She talks about it. There's other people from this book that were photographed for this book that talk later on in the 90s, about their time being photographed by Richard Avedon. So let's go to photo number 2. All right, so photo number 2 is actually my favorite portrait of the whole series. This book is huge, by the way, so I'm kind of trying to make this fit with all the stuff I got going on here. But yeah, this photo here, there's a crazy backstory to this as well, about just his, I guess, demons in life and, all that kind of stuff. And he saw this photo at at the museum, and it was like massively printed and changed his life once he saw the portrait of himself. So in a good way. Because of the way he saw himself. And, I think that's what's interesting. There's, you never know what people are going through and, that type of thing. So it's just interesting, too, with portraits where you don't really know, what's going on in the inside. You know what I mean? So even though a lot of people try to read into that, too. But you never know at the same time. So, but this portrait, awesome, super great photo. There's something like just the lighting is super interesting because his face kind of like seems like it pops out at you. That's why I like it so much. Let's go to photo number 3. And the next 2 photos are kind of similar, but I wanted to talk about them in different ways as well. So photos of 2 people are always kind of interesting, how to, go about taking a photo of 2 people together. I think this one and the next one coming up is a very interesting pose, and or however they're together is just so unique. You don't see it, ever. And it's just real interesting, like just how like his hands like just kind of just there. It's just like there's really no like holding on to anything. It's just like hands there, and like her little grip on the shirt. And one thing I like too is the hair is like the same but going the opposite ways. And just a cool portrait. I like this one a lot. This is one that makes you question. When I was just talking about, you don't know what's going on, but your mind takes you to places. You know what I mean? When you see portraits of people or just photos in general, you come up with your own thoughts and your own, mysteries, and your own life makes you think certain ways too. You know what I mean? Depending on your mood at the time. So super rad portrait. Let's get to photo number 4. It's similar, but I want to talk about a few things with the next one as well. So here's photo number 4. Super rad. This one's good as well. I like that he's kind of like dressed up in his gear and she's just in her shirt, and that creates its own vibe. I like the hand. This one's different. It's not just like kind of rested. It has like the kind of like a grasp type vibe to it. I like the pack in there in the pocket there, and I wanted to talk about something I've noticed. It's funny because I don't really look too much online at like current photography. I guess like say like scrolling on Instagram. Um, like I'm not really like actively looking for new photos to look at. Like I see what I see type thing because for me, I'm just trying to create so much content. I don't have as much time to consume. But sometimes like I'll see a portrait, or something like that I like, and I'll kind of just check out the comments, see what people are saying. And I've seen like, I mean, it's probably been a few times, but it's making me think that it's a lot because I've noticed it. Is I seen a portrait and like the top part of the head was cut off, and there's a lot of comments that you're not supposed to do that. I totally disagree with that. I think you can shoot a portrait however you want. This book is a great example of you don't have to have a person perfectly centered, have like certain space around over their head and to the sides. This book has a lot of portraits that are just off centered and tops of the heads chopped or anything like that. Um, so have fun and experiment with your portraits. You know what I mean? You don't have to be perfectly centered or anything like that. It looks better when it's not. I think if this, like, you're getting everything involved, it's not the same. There's something about being tighter in here that makes this photo work so much better. All right, let's go to the last selection of my top 5, and we have this guy. This guy has a kind of a huge part in that documentary, Darkness and Light, and he is such a unique character. And this photo is just amazing. You know what I mean? You have all these live bees, and just kind of how like stoic he looks. And it's almost like this is what dealing with life is like sometimes. There's just you're gonna have some issues, you're gonna have some pain, but you go through it. Life goes on. Good things are to come. That type of vibe. But like with this portrait, one thing that is so interesting to me is his arms. Like it's kind of like this like side, like his elbows are. There's something about like elbows and like how this all just forms like, and then you just kind of have like what I was just talking about in the last photo of being off centered. What I love about this one being centered is that you have all of this chaos thrown at this centered portrait. Like you're looking everywhere. Yeah, I mean, like when you see this photo, you're just like, you see everything going on, and then you kind of just see this perfect, like, just stoic, calm face. So, great photo here. And that is my top 5 of Richard Avedon's In the American West. If you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button. I'd appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video.